Joining us now, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Senator, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Good to be with you, Brett.
Senator, you're at the center of this negotiation with the president over his social spending and tax bill, the Build Back Better bill that is not coming up in the Senate before the new year, in part largely because of your reservations. Without you, the leadership doesn't have the votes it needs. So today, right now, what's the state of play?
Well, Brett, you know, this is a mammoth piece of legislation, and I had my reservations from the beginning when I heard about it 5.5 months ago, and I've been working diligently every day and every minute of every day. I've been working on this, meeting with, whether it be the President Biden, whether it be Majority Leader Schumer and his staff, whether it would be with Nancy Pelosi, all of my colleagues, I mean, from all different spectrums of the political spectrum, if you will, from the right to the left. I've done everything humanly possible. And you know my concerns I had, and I still have these concerns. And where I'm at right now, the inflation that I was concerned about, it's not transitory, it's real. It's harming every West Virginian. It's making it almost difficult for them to continue to go to their jobs. The cost of gasoline, the cost of groceries, the cost of utility bills, all of these things are hitting in every aspect of their life. And you start looking at, then you have the debt that we're carrying at $29 trillion. You have also the geopolitical unrest that we have. You have the COVID variant, and that is wreaking havoc again. People are concerned. I've been with my family. I know everyone's concerned. So when you have these things coming at you the way they are right now, I've always said this, Brett, if I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it. And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no on this legislation. I have tried everything I know to do. And the president has worked diligently. He's been wonderful to work with. He knows I've had concerns and the problems I've had. And you know, the thing that we should all be is directing our attention towards the variant, the COVID that we have coming back at us in so many different aspects in different ways. It's affecting our lives again. We have inflation that basically could really harm a lot of Americans, and especially those who are most needy and having a hard time struggling right now. So I think that's where our attention needs to be directed towards immediately.
You know,
this has been going on for 5.5 months.
You're getting all the focus, Senator, but are there other Democratic senators who are concerned about this bill like you are? Have you talked to them?
I'm not going to speak for any of myself. I respect. They know they know the difficulties that I've been having with this. I've been very concerned about this. You know, when I first got to the Senate, back in 2011, I was having a meeting on armed services, and at that time, Admiral Mike Mullen was the chief of the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I'll never forget. In this hearing, he was asked the question, "What's the greatest threat the United States of America faces?" And I'm thinking I'm going to hear something in basically with military threats we might have around the world. Without blinking an eye, he said the debt of our nation is the greatest threat. Now, the debt was $14 trillion then, Brett. It's $29 trillion now. Inflation is real. It's not going away anytime soon. We don't know when the end will come. There's a lot of people hurting right now. This COVID, we're fighting on a daily basis, and it's coming at different angles at us, if you will. These are serious things. There's a lot of good, but that bill is a mammoth piece of legislation, a mammoth piece. And when it's done even through regular order, it would be a tremendous, huge undertaking.
So Democrats obviously are frustrated in your caucus, progressives especially, but they point to what they've been doing since the first part of this. The Senate, the conventional wisdom is the longer it goes, it was going to be trimmed down. But the House passed bill was at $2.2 trillion, down from Bernie Sanders' $6 trillion, the initial pitch, which was lowered to $3.5 trillion, now comes in just under $2 trillion. So your number at the beginning was 1.7. Where is the disconnect that you are now a no? You can't get to yes? Well, if you're a Democrat, you're pushing you?
Yeah. Well, Brett, first of all, when this all came about and I went and spoke to the leader, Schumer at that time, and I explained to him where I was and the concerns I had. And at $1.5 trillion is where I thought the most that we could do if we just did it and basically took care of the things that we thought were the highest priorities. As you recall, Bernie started at $6 trillion. I think he was sincere what he thinks needs to be done. and the changes he would like to make are social changes. Then they went to $3.5 trillion. That went down to 2.2 from the House side, and even at 1.75. The thing that never changed, Brett, was basically the same amount of things that they're trying to accomplish by just changing, if you will, the amount of time that we can depend on them. So if you're going to do something and do it, pick what our priorities are, like most people do in their families or their businesses, and you fund them for 10 years, and you make sure they deliver the services for 10 years. It's hard to deliver service for 1 year or 3 years or 5 years, and how are we going to continue them? Unless it's going to put a burden, or unless we have to go back and make adjustments. But we should be up front and pick our priorities. That's the difference. So it hasn't shrunk in the desire. The intent is always there. And what we need to do is get our financial house in order, but be able to pay for what we do and do what we pay for.
The president put out a statement Friday saying that you still supported $1.7 trillion. He said you needed more time to finalize negotiations. And reporters asked you about that, and you said the president put out that statement. It's his statement, not mine. So now what you're saying today makes a lot more sense of why you said that. You're a no.
Well, Brett, here's the thing. I've tried. I mean, I really did. And the president was trying as hard as he could. He has an awful lot, a lot of irons in the fire right now. A lot. I said more on his plate than he needs for this to continue when I'm having the difficulties I'm having, and basically the challenges we have from different parts of our party, basically pushing in different ways. So everyone still has the aspirational things they want to do. They said, well, can we still make this fit? We'll just cut it down to 2 years versus 10 years. We'll cut this one down to 4 years versus 10 years, or 1 year versus 10 years. That's not being genuine, right, as far as I'm concerned, with my constituents in West Virginia.
The Congressional
and I've
Budget
said
Office,
this, if I can't explain it, they put the Congressional, it's the bipartisan, Brett, Congressional Budget Office, they're upwards of $4.5 trillion. $4.5 trillion, if everything that's still in the bill today, even though they said they've cut it down, still in the bill, would be paid for in full, you're in that $4.5 trillion. We've got, again, I'm telling you, we've got COVID at us. We haven't tackled that one and finished that. We've got inflation, which we don't know when it's going to end, and that's going to take a tremendous toll. And that's what we're concerned about. That's what our efforts should be right now.
All right, last thing on this before we move on. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted out, people want to butt Manchin everyone to death, but learned helplessness is not a disposition that inspires confidence or support. The president has tools at his disposal. Leadership has tools at their disposal. If it's really just 1 or 2 votes, Senate should force a vote on Build Back Better. Understanding, Senator, that it's not just 1 or 2 votes, it's 51 potentially, with all the Republicans united against the bill. But what do you think she's talking about? And without your vote, this bill dies, right?
Hey, Brett, the bottom line, I didn't hear the first at the start when you said something. I must have cut out. I didn't get the first thing you were saying.
She said people want to butt Manchin everyone to death. Butt Manchin says this, but learned helplessness is not a disposition that inspires confidence or support.
Well, okay, I got you. Here's the thing. When it's time, just vote. I've been saying that. Just vote. If that's what people need to show where they are, then vote. I've been trying to say it, and I don't know how many different ways I can say it. The frustration from my colleagues, friends of mine on both sides of the aisle, but my Democrat colleagues who are frustrated. This has been strung out for so long, 5.5 months. They're trying to make this adjustment, this adjustment. They're just trying to make the adjustment for the time to fit the money, or the money to fit the time. Not changing our approach, not targeting things we should be doing. Making sure that people, basically that truly need it, are getting it. Making sure that we can do things in a much better fashion. We have things that we can do in a bipartisan way, the way the Senate's supposed to work, if we'll just let it happen. Just go through the committees. Let's work it.
All right. A couple things first. There's a lot of criticism that says that you're doing this about environment and climate change. Your biggest critics say West Virginia's heavy reliance on coal industry and that you personally profit from investments in a family coal brokerage that you founded.
Sure.
What's your response to that?
No, I've heard all those things, and I understand where they're coming from, and basically they're trying to get an agenda they wish to have. The main thing that we need is dependability, reliability. If not, you'll have what happened in Texas and happens in California. And no one's talking about defense of our country either. We just had a committee hearing on, do we have the energy that we need to defend our country in time we would have a conflict or a war? All these things. and the reliability and the affordability. I have put, as chairman of the Energy and Natural Resources Committee in the last 2 years, working in a bipartisan bill, billions of dollars in clean energy technology. We're doing everything humanly possible. We've done more than it's ever been done in the past, and we're continuing to do that. But you can't let technology be behind basically the needs. If technology is not there, we've got to make sure that we're able still to rely on the United States of America. We have been energy basically independent for the first time in many, many years, 67 years or more. And we should not have to depend on other parts of the world to give us the energy or be able to hold us hostage for the energy or the foreign supply chains that we need for the products we use every day.
All right, Senator,
that's
Build
all
Back
I'm trying to
Better
do.
is essentially dead as written without your vote, but there's another push for voting rights and changing the filibuster in some way to get voting rights reform through. Are you open to changing either the rules or the structure of the filibuster to do that?
Well, first of all, voting, just voting is the bedrock of democracy. We should all be concerned about that, Brett. It shouldn't be Democrat or Republican. As an American, and the democracy and the freedoms we enjoy, it becomes because we have an open process of electing our officials and believing and making sure it's secured. So we should be working on that together. And next of all, if you can make the Senate work better, the rules is something we've changed over the years. 232 years there's been rule changes. But there's never been a change with a filibuster, the rights of the minority. And I made no commitments or promises on that. I am working on trying to make the Senate work better, bringing bills to the floor, amending them, having debates, understanding, being transparent to the public.
So the 60 vote threshold stays. You're in the seat of former Senator Robert Byrd from West Virginia. The 60 vote threshold stays under what you're proposing, maybe some exemptions or reforms. Is that what I'm hearing?
What you're hearing is basically, can we work on the rules that make this Senate work, rather than the deadlock that we have right now? Everyone thinks that end all, do all is basically in the filibuster. It's basically in how we operate and proceed every day of the Senate, which we're not doing. That's what needs to be changed.
Last thing, vaccine mandate. You had Friday a ruling from the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals allowing President Biden's vaccine requirements for large private employers to move forward. You've been clear. You've been against mandates on businesses. What's your reaction to that, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, first of all, my reaction is President Biden has been doing everything humanly possible to get vaccines and making sure people understand how serious this is. I've had all of my vaccine shots and my booster too. I hope my whole family has. I recommend and basically plead with every West Virginian and every American to do so. But with that, I've said, first, public dollars, we're working for your tax dollars, then the government employees, the military, all the services that we depend on by what we're supporting through our public dollars, should be that mandate which the president put out as an order. I agree 1,000% with him. I did not agree on the private sector of 100 plus employees of a business or more. I thought businesses really should make those decisions. They have done and they want to do and keep their employees healthy. They should be able to make the decisions. It shouldn't be the government has to make every decision in the private arena. That's all. But now the courts have spoken. That is the law. I pray to good Lord that everyone abides by this law and get vaccinated. Please, get vaccinated.
Senator Manchin, as always, good to talk to you, and Merry Christmas.
Good to talk to you, Brett. Merry Christmas with you and your family and all those who are watching. God bless.